Okay, boys and girls, this is our unit on rates, lesson 5.1. So this is our first lesson. So I want to review what I gave you in your packet, which is really important to help you with your homework. Couple things. Let me just get my marker. One is when we do unit rate or units, when we're talking about, rates, we want to do whatever the amount is. It could be copies, it could be anything like that, but over time. So time's going to come as basically the denominator. So when we write a ratio or a rate, it's going to be like a fraction. So I have the amount, which is 500 copies, over minute. So it's 500 copies per minute. So when I write 500 copies, I'm just going to put a C for copies. Your fraction bar means per, and then minute I'll put down here like 1 minute. Okay, so the other thing that we need to remember is that it's money over unit. Okay, so we have the money over unit. So whenever we're talking about money, we put the money on top. So let's say you're buying gas and it's only $1.53 per gallon. So we write the money over, which means per, the fraction bar, and then gallon. So it's money over gallon. Okay, so let's go over some homework. A few things about homework. Well, one thing is that I told you could use a calculator as long as you show your work. So let's look at a couple of these. And remember, you have to line them up correctly. So if you have money on top and you make an equivalent fraction, you have to have money on top with the other fraction. So for example, on this one it says it takes 8 minutes for water from a tap to fill a 30-gallon tank. Okay, so minutes is time. So let's go back. Minutes is time. So time will come as a denominator. So I'm going to do 30 G is gallons over 8 minutes equals, we want to figure out what the rate is per minute. So we're going to line this up, and minute is on the bottom as a denominator. So I'm going to put minute on the denominator here, and I'll put an X here because I don't know what it's going to be for the rate. So X is really going to be gallons. So there's a couple ways to do this. As we talked in class, you should know that right here really is going to be division. But what I told you in class, what I really like to do is to cross multiply. So let's say we got 8 minutes equals X over 1 minute. So when we cross multiply, I'm going to multiply 30 and 1. When I get 30 and 1, I get 30 equals, I always like to put the variable on the left side, 8 times x. And don't worry about m for minute, just drop that. So 8x. So we're going to get 8x equals 30. So what we need to do, if you remember in class, we need to do the inverse operation, which means we need to divide by 8 because you want the variable by itself. And whatever you do on one side of the equation, you must do on the other. It's like a balancing act. And x will equal 30 over 8. Now, you have a calculator, and you're allowed to use a calculator to solve that problem. I'm not going to do the whole thing for you. Okay, so let's move on to another one. So look at number 3. Number 3 says it took 9 gallons of gas to travel 216 miles. Okay, the key to this one, they tell you how they want it. They want it miles per gallon. So we're going to put miles up top. So it'll be 216 miles per gallon, so it's 9 gallons, equals, I don't know how many miles per 1 gallon. And then you could just cross multiply. Number 4, whenever you're talking about speed, we're talking about miles per hour. So it's miles per hour. So when you do that, you're going to put miles on top, per, and then the time, which is hours. Okay, so let's go to the next page. For number 5, Mrs. O'Leary, she pays $969.50 for 1 week. So they want the rate per day. So what you need to do is we're going to write $969.50 over 7 because it's 7 days. And this is dollar sign. So we want to know the rate per day. So it's going to equal money, which I don't know, over 1 day. Okay, so you got to convert the week to days. I think the rest is pretty good. Let's just go over number 7. A wheel makes 40 revolutions per minute. So 40 revolutions for 1 minute equals how many minutes does it take the wheel to travel 280. So we put 280 on top because you have to match the revolutions over x. And you just cross multiply and be able to figure that out. Or you could say, okay, 40 times what is 280? And that'll help you with your denominator. Okay? All right, you guys should be fine. And just remember, if you get stuck, go back to your path.